Hey, what's up? Why the Epstein Files didn't start a revolution.
3.5 million documents, revealing one of the darkest abuses of power.
Where women and children as young as 12 describe rape, sexual abuse, and trafficking.
Oh my gosh, I was 14 years old. Like, what the hell do you know when you're that young?
At the highest levels of society.
Even after Epstein was convicted in 2008 for sex crimes, including one involving a minor. The visitors kept coming.
And nothing happened.
You have not held a...
I mean, does anything ever happen? It's the same song and dance over and over. How many times do we see this?
single man accountable. Shame on you.
Over 24 people have resigned, CEOs, members of government worldwide, but I haven't seen any arrests or investigations here in the United States. Are you still
And you're never going to. When the Epstein Files first dropped, I was trying to tell people, my closer circles, nothing is going to come of this. You're not going to see anything change. You're not going to see anything happen. I think I know why. I have a theory, but I'll hold off. I want to see if this person says it.
Talking about Jeffrey Epstein?
I think this is a massive cover-up. All over the world, we are being lied to.
Americans have flooded the streets to protest police brutality, for women's rights, against ICE, and even for Gaza. So how can something this disturbing only produce this?
The satirical statue of Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein hand in hand has now been taken down.
A lot of evil motherfuckers out here on this street. Bunch of pedophiles, bunch of rich pedophiles.
The outrage certainly exists, but it's been systematically diffused and diluted. And I believe that's by design. There's a concept that helps explain what's going on here called the Overton window.
All right, hold on. Let me explain my theory real quick, because I don't want it to look like I'm copying her if she does say it. What I've seen in society, especially during COVID, is people seem to have a defeatist mindset and a fear when it comes to the government. They look at the government as this boogeyman. You hear people, you heard Joe Biden talk about if you want to fight the government, you need more than an AR-15. I think the Epstein Files, with all the politicians in them, are a little bit too large to where the average person has a defeatist mindset and says, we can't do anything about it. I think they view it and think, what in the world can I change? Because these are the exact same people that if you try to tell them to stop overspending on luxury items, things like that, they just say, oh, well, I can't change anything. What's it going to change if I don't buy it? They don't understand the strength in numbers. They don't understand that the collective runs the show. The government doesn't run anything. We, the people, do. And what we're doing right now is we're giving them power. We're letting them run the country for us. I understand people love to argue and talk about the Second Amendment, gun rights. They love to talk about how other countries don't have guns and they have less shootings than we do. In reality, objectively speaking, removing politics out of the equation, not left wing, not right wing. The reason we have guns is to overthrow a tyrannical government. To overthrow a government that has an island, to overthrow a government that has people going to islands with children doing things that we just saw them do through these Epstein Files. But we're never going to do it. We're going to do like I'm doing right now. We're going to sit at our computer and talk about it. Let's be real.
It's the range of ideas that a society considers acceptable, what feels normal to talk about or believe. Everything within the window is seen as reasonable, and what is outside it is not, to varying degrees, from not very normal to radical to unthinkable. But that window isn't fixed.
Look, to give you guys an example of what she's talking about, depending on how old you are, if you are probably 25 or older, you probably remember growing up as a boy, what's one of the main phrases that we would say? What's one of the number one things we'd call each other? Gay. We would be like, bro, you're gay. That's gay. Oh, we have homework? Bro, that's gay as hell. Your friend invites you out on the weekend. Hey, bro, you want to go to Six Flags? Nah, bro. I got to go to the grocery store with my mom, bro. It's gay as hell. Nowadays, you do that shit, you getting hung up, bro. Nowadays, you say something's gay, you getting strung up like a slave. You about to get whipped and flogged or whatever it is. You about to get beaten.
It can shift over time. And one of the ways it shifts is through repeated exposure to the extreme, the unthinkable. Not because it will be accepted by the masses, but because it makes the less extreme things seem more acceptable. And in the process of being repeatedly exposed to the unthinkable itself becomes familiar too. I believe there are 4 forces pushing that window in the United States towards a place where something like the Epstein Files doesn't mobilize people. It overwhelms them. The first is the most obvious: desensitization. Years ago, these files may have triggered a political crisis and protests across the US, like these events from Trump's first presidency.
And when you're a star, they let you do it. You can do anything.
Whatever you want.
Grab them by the...
They came from across the country.
President Trump signing a new executive order imposing a
I actually have a different theory on that. I know that she's making the claim that people accepting Trump saying that desensitized the nation to where when the Epstein Files dropped, nobody really cared. I actually think it's the opposite. Going back to the whole saying, oh, that's gay. I think one of the most damaging things that we've done as a society is we've basically played the old folktale of the little boy who cried wolf. Anytime someone does anything or says anything that could even remotely be taken offensively, we act like they're the leader of the Nazi party back in 1940. When Donald Trump said that if you're rich, women will let you do anything to them, like grab them by their genitals. Objectively speaking, this man basically made a joke that you're going to hear in your average locker room. We treated him like he was a certified rapist at that time. What we should have done is brush it off, water off a duck's back. You know why? Because whenever his name popped up in the Epstein Files, we could have actually treated this man like a certified rapist. But now, the little boy who cried wolf, what the nation has heard about for the past 8 years is how he's a rapist. And then the evidence they provide is him saying, if you're rich, more girls will sleep with you. So then when the Epstein Files drop, what do you see? Republicans coming out talking about how it's fake, how you can't believe fake news, all this and that. Yeah, because they just got beat over the head for 8 years talking about how he's a rapist when there really wasn't any evidence. Now that there's evidence, they don't believe it. Who would have thought?
90-day ban on visas for citizens from 6 Muslim-majority countries.
It was a huge crowd, and a loud and an angry one. And I say huge.
They seem tame compared to what we've learned from the Epstein Files.
Here is a witness statement who called into the FBI's Threat Operations Center, and he met a girl who said she was raped by Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein. She later had her head blown off, and officers at the scene said that could not have been suicide. No one.
Damn, they got her with that Hillary Clinton, bro. 7 shots in your own back with a shotgun. They say it was self-inflicted.
And the Department of Justice interviewed this witness.
Thank you for a fun night. Your little girl was a little naughty.
The difference is, today, these files emerge in a society that has already been pushed far beyond its previous limits, because even the most unsettling written testimony cannot rival the impact of what people have seen and heard themselves.
Towns and cities have been reduced to rubble and dust.
It is no exaggeration to say that the live-streamed genocide of Gaza fundamentally changed the world forever, on a material level and on a psychological level. I think the average person before couldn't say that they'd ever seen a man burned alive.
I'm gonna be honest, I actually think that this is not a good point to bring up. I think you kind of muddy the waters, because now you're talking about from Epstein Files to this Israel-Hamas or Israel-Palestine war. What this requires now, because people are so ideologically captured, this requires someone to be on board with your opinions on the Epstein Files, but also be on board with your opinions on the Israel-Hamas war. Or they're just going to disregard everything you say. What I'm saying is, let's say that someone says, oh, I hate Donald Trump and he's in the Epstein Files. I need the Epstein Files to be released. I'm pro that, right? But then they support Israel. Well, by you posting this is going to make them think, because you're posting pro-Hamas or pro-Palestine, let's say, not Hamas, pro-Palestine things, anti-Israel basically. This is going to make them say, you don't know what you're talking about with the Epstein Files. I do not think this is a good correlation to make.
Or a father carrying the pieces of his child in a plastic bag. What was seen was so shocking that across the world, people took to the streets in the millions.
From Barcelona to Athens, Mexico City to...
And by the way, whenever I say that, I'm talking about just giving her advice on trying to push her point and win her, quote unquote argument. I'm not giving my opinion on that.
Rio de Janeiro.
With time, the horrors Israel unleashed on Gaza escalated. But the mass mobilization didn't. What psychology tells us is that the human brain is not built to remain in a constant state of alarm. There is a process known as habituation, where repeated exposure to the same stimulus gradually reduces the intensity of our emotional response to it. Not because the stimulus becomes less severe, but because the brain, in order to function, has to adapt. It has to dampen the response so that it can function and survive. I felt this happen to me in real time. At the beginning of the genocide, working with footage like this was physically unbearable. There were nights I couldn't sleep, and many moments where I had to step away from the screen because my body was rejecting what I was seeing.
Another thing I'll say, and I don't mean to sound like I'm criticizing her or her opinions on this. I'm more so just trying to offer advice. Doing things like calling it a genocide, I think, it doesn't really push the narrative. Or no, it does push the narrative. It doesn't really help your case, though. Like, just call it a war, bro. At the end of the day, it is two factions fighting. I understand. Israel has made comments about wanting to wipe them off the face of the earth, basically. I understand. By the definitions, it is a genocide. Or it is an attempted genocide, Just call it a war. Because right there, you're going to have people click off the video.
But slowly, something was shifting. Recently, I went back to watch a video I edited towards the beginning of the genocide. A video I remember really struggling to put together.
The war with all the civilians.
Today is 10 times worse than yesterday, 100 times worse than the first day. Gaza is collapsing.
And when I watched it, something disgusted me. Not the footage, but my own reaction to it. And I caught myself having a thought that I'm almost ashamed to admit. I remember it being worse. Because in the time between then and now, I had seen much worse. My feed on X is full of people reminding one another and pleading to the world how bad things are. Like we need to be jogging each other's memories, sobering each other and the world back to a pre-genocide sense of human morality and disgust. Americans are experiencing this too, and what came for them along with the genocide was a huge...
Bro, this damn video is gonna get my damn channel banned. I only have 7 subscribers. I'm already about to get banned. There's a ton of damn violence in here.
Huge awakening to the reality of the American empire and how it really works, and increasing exposure to graphic violence at home as well.
Aaron Bushnell then placed his phone on the ground.
The deadly shooting of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson.
Charlie Kirk was fatally shot.
What you're about to see is disturbing. There is crude language.
It's in this America that the Epstein Files are released.
By the way, just in case anyone's damn crashing out, I actually am fully against this war. Just so y'all know, because I already know some people are going to hear what I say and just take it to an emotional level and be like, yo, this dude is pro-genocide. Nah, bro, I'm fully against all that shit.
These documents are landing on people whose threshold for horror has already been pushed far beyond where it used to be. And written testimony, no matter how disturbing, cannot compete with what people have seen with their own eyes.
I don't know, man, with all this damn AI.
But desensitization alone doesn't explain it, because people still have the capacity to process and then organize. Except that that ability is under attack too. And that brings us to the second force. A sustained war on the mind. We're living in an age of short-form content and shorter attention spans. Every event, no matter how significant, is dropped into this constant, fast-moving feed where it has to compete for attention with everything else. In this digital environment...
That's very, very true, and they do it all on purpose. The mainstream media does that on freaking purpose. That's why you hear these random stories pop up. A random story of a shooting, a gang shooting. For some reason, it's mainstream news. Go look under the surface. Go look what happens. That same day, it'll be like 1,500 Epstein Files were released. Oh, what a coincidence. They got swept under the rug because this Crip shot this blood in California. It's all on purpose to keep you distracted.
The way something is presented becomes just as important as what it contains. After almost 7 years of slow dripping information and waiting, all at once, 3.5 million files are dumped.
If you piled all the documents released on top of one another, we're told it will be twice the height of the Eiffel Tower.
It's overwhelming by design. Unorganized, heavily redacted, and difficult to navigate. This release requires time and attention to sift through, things that the average person is already struggling with. And for journalists and content creators to get through all of this is going to be a long and slow process. And in a world of 24-hour news cycles and short attention spans, maintaining the emotional momentum in order to translate into any kind of mobilization is difficult.
People are like, oh, I see now, nobody has our side. Neither one of these groups, it feels like, have our side. You feel like it's just all these articles. It's like, well, here's an article about this is going to happen. And then people get in an uproar about it. But nobody, it's almost like it's all algorithmed perfectly to the amount of our attention span, where it just fades out of like the zeitgeist of discussion.
The information overload is intentional, to kill our ability to sit and process what has happened, and instead leave us constantly reacting. And this brings us to another layer of this war on the mind. It's not just a war on our attention, but a war on the truth as well.
Every lie Donald Trump has told in the first 154 days of the Trump presidency.
See, this is that dumb shit. This is that really, really dumb shit, boy who cried wolf. What are we doing here? What are we doing? For a second, y'all, I need you to think about this. Think about everything going on in the world, everything going on in our country, all the problems we have, the inflation we're dealing with, right? The housing market, the job market, all the bullshit we're dealing with. But then you go turn on the news, and what do you see? A damn newspaper article talking about all Trump's lies. We got people spending their time, their efforts. They're the mainstream media, right? They're supposed to be telling us what's going on, keeping us informed. But instead, they're spending all their damn time and efforts creating a newspaper page, documenting all Donald Trump's lies. Bro, everybody already knows this. Everyone already knows politicians lie their ass off and we can't trust them, and they're not in it for us. Everyone knows they treat us like cattle. The people who don't know it, they're too far gone. The people who don't know it, they're voting red till I'm dead, blue no matter who. These people are fucking cooked already, bro. Who are you making this for? I'll tell you who they're making it for. They're making it for the people who already hate Trump. So then these people have their biases confirmed. Then they can go to bed happy. Here's the problem. It doesn't help anything. Everyone knows all these politicians are idiots. Let's move on. Let's fix things. All right? We don't need to be having videos posted talking about how Biden's mentally fried or how Trump is fat. We already know that.
There was a time in the US media landscape when it was genuinely shocking that a sitting US president would blatantly lie on camera. That's
literally never been shocking, bro. Every single president in my entire life has blatantly lied on camera. What are we talking about?
Really the case anymore. It's almost like the assumed baseline is that the president is lying.
All right then.
And that has just become normalized. This has happened alongside other assaults on the truth as well. The emergence of AI,
viewed millions of times, showing just how fast fake photos can spread like wildfire.
And the mass awakening many Americans have been experiencing about their own history, unearthing so many lies that were fed to them by the government.
This is how freedom is spread, okay? The West is the best.
Somewhere in all this, something changed in how truth functions in American life.
There is no credible information. None. If there were, I would bring the case yesterday that he trafficked to other individuals.
Look, it's because of the rise of the internet being so mainstream. Everyone has access to the internet. AI gives us access to anything and everything we want now. Government trust is at an all-time low, and it's just going to keep going down because the government doesn't care about you. They're going to keep lying. They're going to keep trying to hurt you. They're going to keep pushing things that only help their own interests, help their friends, help them get richer, help them, garner more power over you, be more authoritarian. You should never be pro-government. You should never be pro-authoritarian. You should never want to give the government even a little inkling of power because they will use it to abuse and destroy you. They truly do not care about you. You can call that satanic. You can call it the Illuminati. You can call it whatever you want. At the end of the day, that's what it is. We're finding out more about it. The internet's keeping us more informed than the media ever could. It's not even trying to be doom and gloom. It's just being realistic. Listen, I think we've heard enough of this video. She brought some good points. Hopefully, I added a unique perspective to the matter. I don't want to be a content thief. I don't want to just watch her video and just steal that shit. So hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Let me know if you trust the government in the comment section below.